Salt of the Earth Farm Stories. Through intimate interviews, host Darren Grigg delves into farming practices, traditions, and the challenges farmers face in nurturing the land.
I deliberately try to keep the numbers light so that I can go into a drought for 2 to 3 years before I have to sell. When we got burnt out, I wore my knees out of my trousers that year and bloody praying for rain, I tell you. And we got it, and then the country come back and it was bloody beautiful.
We're back with part B of my chat with Ash Severin. And this half of the yarn, well, it gets heavier, but just as important. We talk about the evolution of mustering, from horseback to motorbikes to choppers, and now trap yards. He shares what it's like trying to strike that tricky balance with nature, from dingoes to goannas, and even co-grazing with camels. Well, that's fine until the bull camels go nuts for 2 months of the year, smashing fences and causing chaos. We hear about a fire that burned for 7 months. And even while I was there, Ash stepped in and helped a tourist in a tough moment. Just the kind of bloke he is. There's a cattle yard incident that didn't end up so good, the sudden loss of his mum when he was in his 30s, and the heartbreaking story of his son. Ash also shares his thoughts on drugs, resilience, and surviving a triple bypass. He's living a big, hard, beautiful, and at times very painful life. But what a chat. Let's jump back in. And tell me about moving stock. How do you do that these days? You said before you were on horseback to start with, and then I'm guessing there was motorbikes at some point. And I guess you've tried choppers as well?
Yeah, we tried motorbikes, but not in my particular piece of country, absolutely bloody useless. Then we went to choppers, and that was because of the what they call the BTEC program, the brucellosis and TB. And they considered 100% muster was to use choppers. So we used choppers for a while, and then when everyone else got to the same standard as us, because we didn't have TB, we didn't have brucellosis. It was just the luck of the draw, I think, that when you look back, we thought we were mistreated sometimes, but as I said, with not being able to borrow money from the banks and the agents, it worked out good because we actually got just 1 or 2 in, and obviously free of TB and brucellosis.
Did you get any support for costs like choppers?
Mm.
But you had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Hands are tied.
Well, if you wanted to become, TB and brucellosis free, you had to do it. So getting back to it, we used the choppers. As soon as I could, I got out of the choppers. You had to have 8 or 10 blokes in the camp because you got to run hash. You got to run a wing, which is a post, and everyone's different. But I had a post about every 20 foot, and then you had 3 wires for one at ground level, 1 at 3 foot, and 1 at 6 foot. Then you'd pin hashing over the top of that, and that's what you call a wing. And you'd run that out for 100, 150 yards, 200 yards from the yard, and then on the other side was generally a fence, so you'd make another wing there. The choppers would bring them in. Once you got them into the wing, then you'd get in there with the Toyotas and you'd help the chopper, and you just run them all straight into the yard. Yeah. Sounds easy, but by Jesus, you work to get them in, I tell you.
Yeah, bloody yes. Really? And this could be like 1,000, 1,200 at a time.
Well, it depends on the mob they brought in, yeah, but you could have 300 or 400 at a time. So, and then you got cattle that hadn't been in the yards like that and they wanted to get out, and your job in the Toyota was to try and stop them, but the chopper pilots back then were absolutely fantastic. I wish I had a camera, because you'd see the chopper itself, 2 foot off the ground, and they'd have the, what do you call it, the
landing gear.
Yeah, the landing gear prod. It would be up a bullock bum pushing him along.
That's clever.
Yeah, oh no, they're absolutely fantastic pilots. Absolutely fantastic.
But then that's a huge expense, isn't it?
Well, back then it was $3 a minute, and I believe now it's about $6 or $7 a minute. Number one, I can't get the men or women, for that matter, to work out in the camp. Number two, I haven't got the numbers of cattle to warrant $6 or $7 a minute. Those 4,000 head of cattle are still spread over the same area. There's another station that, like up the top end on the same area, they might be running 20,000 head. Therefore, you can use a chopper.
Yeah.
I can't down here.
So tell me about your water trapping and how you muster now.
Well, when I come back from the Nuffield in 87, there's another station just northeast of Alice. He was playing around with traps, and I was playing around with traps, and When I look back on them now, Jesus, they were crude, but yeah, anything's crude when you first start. But we decided if you could control your waters, you could control your cattle. Like, you can control them with a chopper, but too expensive. But everything's got a drink. Doesn't matter, summer or winter, they've got a drink. It's just a little bit longer that you got to work. So we designed the water traps, and we settled on 4 fingers, set it about from the horizontal at about 15, 20 degrees, so that as the beast walks through it, and they come to a point like that, about 8 inches apart, and as the beast walks through it, they push the fingers out, and as they go through, the fingers fall back behind them. So they can go in, but they can't come out. Then you'd have another set of traps further down the yard that went out. So when you muster now, or when I muster now, you just go out, you shut the out trap,
Nobody's
go
still
back
in there.
tomorrow morning.
So they get used to the process to get a drink. They come in, they got some fingers running over their body, the gate's closed. They're not really fussed about that because they know they can get out.
Yep.
And then when you're ready to muster,
you just
shut
shut
the
the
gate.
out trap. Yep. They still come in for water. To me, with not being able to get the blokes that we really need, is good because we can just do little bites at a time.
Yeah.
And you go down there, only takes 3 of us now, sometimes 4. You go out there and trap. We do everything. Mark them, earmark them, brand them, needle them if you have to.
Yeah.
And
Do you preg test?
if I have to, yeah. But again, at the moment I don't because it's just too short of blokes.
Yeah. This method too would keep them a lot quieter. You haven't got the noise of helicopters and motorbikes and people yelling.
That's the reason I went away from the choppers, was every time a beast heard an engine, didn't matter what it was, all you ever saw was just a cloud of dust.
Yeah. Ash, what pests and diseases do you need to watch out for?
No, you got to look out for everything, but in Central Australia we're pretty lucky because we really are disease free.
And you're running it nearly organically, aren't you?
Well, virtually we are organic, but we don't fit the organic status. You can, but Jesus, it's hard.
Yeah.
And to go with their rules and regulations because like the rubbish on the station, it's got to be completely fenced. Like your rubbish dump. And here, because we've got the tourist road, we end up with a fair bit of bloody rubbish. I tell you.
Yeah, right.
We could do it, but I'm sorry, at the moment I'm getting a bit long in the tooth to worry about that sort of thing. I mean, and you don't get paid that much more.
No, I was going to ask if it's a marketing tool, but it's probably not worth it.
It could be, but it's nice to have it, but it's not really worth it to me, the effort. Some stations say it is. That's up to them.
And any problems with the feral animals?
Yeah, well, we've got to look after all the feral animals on the property and control them. Yeah. And the main feral animal we got, dingoes are normal, although the dingoes are protected in the territory, so it's only the wild dogs that we've got. So we haven't got dingoes, we just got wild dogs.
They give you much grief?
Generally speaking, no. When you look at it, the old bitch is the matriarch of the family, and she teaches everything. So you go out, and good seasons, there's enough for everybody. We had a hell of a problem once the rabbits disappeared through Khaleesi virus because the dingoes was easy going. But then after that, they really had to start hunting. And if you end up shooting a dingo, generally speaking, it's the bitch because she'll stand there and look at you because the pups are just everywhere. She's the matriarch of the family. She's the one that teaches them what to do, what to go after. She's the one that eats first. So you put 1080 baits out, she's the one that gets the 1080 bait. So, same thing. Then, it's no different to humans. I mean, you got kids growing up without a mother or a father. They tend to go a bit bloody wild. So that's where they start, and they've got no, what do you call it?
Leader.
Yes, so no leader to show them. So, they gang up a bit, and then it might be a bit dry. So you got 10 or 15 around a cow, and they'll virtually start off their playing. They bite, and then they get the taste of the blood. And then once they get the taste of the blood, then they pull them down. When they're real bad, they'll just pull the guts out and eat the heart or the liver, and go on to the next one. I wouldn't mind if they took the whole bloody beast.
Yeah.
But they don't. So that's when I go out and you start laying the baits properly and you start shooting anything. Once, after a while, that controls itself, but the whole balance of nature is out.
Yeah.
Because when you look at it on the balance of nature, you got your prenties, which is a big lizard, on that side, and if you've got plenty of prenties, your country's good. The dingo keeps the foxes down, the kangaroos down, the emus down, So you're balancing everything. So you take one out and that, you get an influx of the others. So that's why I don't like shooting them or poisoning the dingoes too much. But I only do it once they start bloody chewing my calves up.
Out of control. And what about the camels?
Oh, yeah. Bloody camels. We've got to control them. We're supposed to control them. For a long time I was just shooting them, but I've always wanted to co-graze to make use of the country. You can co-graze, but for 10 months of the year, that's not a problem. For the 2 months of the year, and I'm talking round figures, 2 months of the year when the bull camels are in rut, our cow fences, I'll use the term, do not stop them. There's nothing unusual when you're doing the fence run to find top wire or a couple of wires missing. You follow the wire out into the scrub, 50 to 100 yards, and there's a camel bloody tied up on the ground because it's all wrapped around his feet and that, and he can't go any further. And the reason I wanted to co-graze was, one was and I'll use the terms loosely, was to put my cattle into a paddock and flog it to a degree. Then put the camels in and flog it, because theoretically they're supposed to eat the trees and so forth, not everything, but the trees. And that keeps the country a little bit more open rather than having thick scrub, impenetrable scrub that you can't get through. So that's good. But to make your fences camel proof, which we did round a dam, and that was $25,000 a kilometre.
Wow.
On my western boundary, because that's mainly where the camels come from, it's just over 100 k's. It's a bloody lot of money.
No, not spending that.
For 2 months of the year. So
Yeah.
I gave up co-grazing. I shot hell out of the camels. And then a bloke that I knew fairly well from Ulara, he's got the camel farm out there. He actually started his camel farm here, or camel business. He came over during COVID, the first year of COVID, because he had no business at all, because no one was allowed to move, no tourists, nothing. So he came over and he said, if I muster the camels, can we work out a price on what we need between us to do it? And I was busy doing something. I said, yeah, no worries, Chris. And then he said, Chris, you muster the camels, you sell the bloody camels. I don't want anything. All I want is a bit of work in return. So he said, not a problem.
Perfect. He's getting them off your property.
It's a gentleman's agreement. And some of the infrastructure he's put in, I can't claim it because he built it. He can't claim it because it's not in his business.
Oh.
Well, it's not on his farm.
Yeah.
He's putting a lot of money into it.
Yeah.
He has a bit of a win every now and again. He has a bit of a loss, and sometimes he breaks even. So he's going along. He's keeping at it, and it's kept the numbers down. But and camels come in various directions, various areas with the way they sort of work their way through the country. We found that a lot of the camels come up on the eastern side of Lake Amadeus, and then they come down around the lake through us, go down past Mulga Park to South Australia.
Do they travel through in pairs or are they in groups?
When the bulls are not rutting, you get the family groups, and you could have 30, 40 camels in a group. You got your little groups as well. You got dad and mum and a couple of mums and a couple of cows, and they're off on their own, no different to humans.
So there's a lot of native grass species here. The cows must do better on that, and you still try and keep as much ground cover as you can.
Well, you try, but I mean, obviously you're going to run short at the end of a drought. Most of our native grasses are good. Naturally, the cattle eat the good stuff first, and then they gradually go back to the bit like us.
Yeah.
You eat the good stuff first, and you leave the less palatable till last. I've always been against the buffel grass because I believed, and I mean this has been going on now for 40, 50 years. But I watched the buffel grass creep out from Alice Springs all the way down the road. Where there used to be grasses, the only thing you see now is buffel because it's invasive and it takes over the country.
Oh, so it's an introduced species.
Yep.
Ah.
Yeah, it's an introduced species, and it was introduced to Alice Springs to try and, because at Alice Springs on the ranges just off from there you got the watershed areas, and virtually clay pans and scalded country, and the dust storms we used to get in the early 60s and right through the mid 60s were bloody horrendous. Some of the dust storms lasted 3 days. And
because there was no ground cover.
Yeah. So Bob Millington, he was working for CSIRO. He came across this grass and he said, if we plant it, it'll help with the dust. And if you fly into Alice Springs now when it's a bit drier, you can actually see the original scarified marks where they planted it. But it's spread that much now that when we've had some good rains, you go into Alice Springs and it's right up on top of the hills. It's just buffle. There's buffle everywhere. You got the bloody do-gooders that want to get rid of it and all the rest of it, which is going to be impossible. But as one of the pastoralists we were talking to at the cattlemen's one day, he said, well, one way to control it is put more cattle on it, which he's right.
And they do okay.
Oh, yeah, like that. While it's green, it's good feed. But as soon as it dries off or hays off, it's down, it's just there as a filler. But then you've got the fire problem.
And is there less dust now because of it?
Oh, around Alice Springs,
Yeah. So less dust, but it blew the seeds everywhere.
Yep. Well, on this place, I mean, you go down around the Salt Lakes, and you could be 20 k's off the main road, which is where the buffle crept down, and you got buffle grass.
Yeah. Do you ever have to bring feed in?
No. Well, the only time we bring feed in is when we're mustering and holding the cattle ready for the truck.
Yeah. So you just bring a load of hay in at a time. Yeah.
Well, you take it at the moment. I mean, down south, you could be paying $400 or $500 a bale, and then you got $300 freight. They're bloody expensive.
Yeah. And tell me about the 2002 fires. That lasted something like 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
And burning, am I right, 80% of your property?
It was, the fires were virtually started by black lightning. They burnt, because, I mean, there's only the missus, myself, and a couple of blokes here. And when you go fighting a fire, if they don't know how to do it and what to do, you can be in trouble. Because you haven't got the stuff to do it. I mean, we've got a grader. Every station's got a grader. Generally speaking, we go over the other ones to give the other ones a hand. But 2002, when the fire started, it just burnt. And then you wouldn't have smoke for 3, 4, 5 days. It's all out. And then you might have an old dead mulga that's been just burning away, and the wind comes in the right direction, blows a bit of a spark over, lands in a bush, in the Spinifex, poof, away it goes again. So just started and stopped, started and stopped, started and stopped, started and stopped. So at the end of 22, roughly 80% of the place had disappeared.
80% of your property. Did you have to destock then?
Not really, because I don't have that many numbers.
Yeah.
I deliberately try to keep the numbers light so that I can go into a drought for 2 to 3 years before I have to sell.
Good.
So when we got burnt out,
It was like,
I wore my trousers, knees out of my trousers that year, and bloody praying for rain, I tell you.
yeah.
And we got it, and then the country came back, and it was bloody beautiful.
Yeah. Was there any new species that had popped up after a fire?
Not that I know of.
Yeah. Now, Ash, do you start the day off with a plan?
Yep. Years ago, say 45 years ago, an old girl, Marion, who was a school teacher friend of my grandmother's, sat the old man and I down one day and she said, you must have a plan. Otherwise you'll never get anywhere, Peter, actually. So we said, okay. So that night, we had a couple of beers, made the plan for the next day. So we both met in the kitchen, 6 o'clock in the morning. I said to him, right, I'm going out to do such. And with that, a motor car comes screaming in, hit the brakes, dust and stones and shit flying everywhere. But quick, there's an accident, people lying everywhere. So I looked at the old man and I said, well, that plane's shot for shit, isn't it? Because I was out and I never got home until about 8 o'clock that night.
Really? Bad
It was
accident.
a very bad accident. But, so every time now someone says, now you got to make a plan, I just give that laugh and say, yeah, no worries, it'll be shot for shit before I even get there. So, yes, I try to make a plan. We try to stick to it. Yeah. Well, like last night.
There's a bit happened here in the last 24 hours.
Yeah. But you can't just walk away and leave them. Yeah, you've got to look after them.
Do you want to talk about what happened last night?
Well, last night, I was serving in the store, giving me storeman a hand. And this lady come in and wanted a cigarette lighter. And I said, what do you want that for? You're not a smoker? She said, yeah, I want to smoke. I said, well, you shouldn't do that. Put slumps on your chest. And because it's concord straight over the top. And then I found out why, because she was acting a bit strangely. And I said, are you all right? And she said, well, no, I'm not. My husband is drunk and verbally abusing me. So I said, come with me. So I brought her into the kitchen. I got the missus and sat her down, because the missus, as you found out, the missus can talk better than me. We found out that he does this regularly, about every 2 weeks. He gets on the piss, gets drunk as a skunk, and then verbally abuses hell out of her. So we put her in a room. She stopped up here all night. We gave her a wireless, so that if anything he did happen to find her, she had the wireless is only on our channel. a bit of security, because where she was to our place is about 50 metres, 60 metres. But that gave her a bit of security. We saw the bloke this morning, one of my staff did, and yesterday, every time we saw this particular staff member want to ask a question, know stuff. This morning, every time we saw him, he went and hid in the caravan. So he's obviously a bit sheepish about what happened. But I gave the girl a little bit of advice, and said he definitely needs a hand. But you've got to get him to admit that he needs a hand, otherwise it's not going to work. And I said, I'm no psycho, but I've seen this before, so try and get him to a psycho somewhere and get him to admit to it. And because I said he's a piss pot, and at the moment he's only verbally abusing you. And as you said, that's the abuse is getting worse. And I said, one day it may not be a hit, but he'll shake shit out of you. And then the next time he'll shake shit out of you even more. And then the next time will be a hit. I've seen it before. So.
Oh, but the verbal abuse is very powerful, and that'll stay with her for a long time.
Yeah.
So you really are a jack of all trades, aren't you, Ash?
Well, I'm jack of every trade. Yeah, right.
All right, so we're in the yards, all right. There's a couple of hundred head of cattle in there. Who's the boss?
Virtually the missus at the moment.
Right.
She's running up and down with the clipboard and the pen and doing the recording of the ear tags and that. When we're at the homestead here, I'm on the hydraulic crush. I work real hard. I just play a couple of levers. Then the other two blokes, if we've got two blokes, they're working on the other side doing the branding and the ear marking and whatever. If we've got wild stuff in the yard, I'm still the boss, because I can generally kick most people out.
Yeah.
And I found out about 12 months ago now that I can't jump as high as I used to. Once upon a time, I'd put the hand on the top rail and I was over the top and gone. I did this 12 months ago and put the hand on the top rail and landed on the second rail from the bottom. His head got me and he rubbed me up and down the rails a bit, and I was very, very lucky I didn't end up with broken legs. But it ended up that where the bruising was, the missus made me go to the hospital, and I ended up taking out a piece of meat about that big.
Oh.
And so I was in hospital for a couple of weeks there, but I was going to be the big tough man that was sore.
Yeah.
But when the doctor saw it in town, he said much longer, and he said that would have been gangrene.
Oh, no.
So it doesn't pay to be a big tough man. You just go and get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those things.
So we touched on your jack of all trades, but out here you need to be a bit of everything: a mechanic, a builder, a plumber.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you turn your nose up at?
Well, you can turn your nose up at it, but you got to do it. Like we just spent the last 3 days cleaning out the septic pit, because part of the wall had collapsed, and we've got to put in a new septic tank, like little plastic one. And I was lucky that one of my workers here, he had the protective gear and the boots, and he got down in the shit. My job upstairs was on the hydraulic levers and picking the buckets up and 44-gallon drums up that we'd cut the tops out of, and swinging them up and putting them on the truck and then taking them down the flat and kicking them off. One of those things, and people turn their nose up and they say, oh, I wouldn't do that. And I said, what, doesn't your shit stink? Because I know mine does.
And you're a life member of the NT Cattlemen's, Tourism Australia,
yeah,
and a life member of Nuffield.
Life member of Nuffield, yeah.
That must feel good.
Well, it's nice to find that you've been appreciated, and I didn't think I'd done that much in any of them. But obviously some of the other people thought I did, so I feel very, very privileged to actually become a life member, yes.
What's changed the most here on this property, do you think, since your father started?
That's a hard one, because I can say people, I can say modern technology, because I'm being left behind now with the modern technology. I can't work a computer. Every time I touch it, the screen comes up red and says warning, or it just freezes. So I don't know what it is, but computers and I do not, like even the mobile phone. I'm flat out working a mobile phone. And they tell me, from the mob in town, that it's because I haven't got much electricity in my body. My skin's too bloody dry or whatever, and there's just no electricity there.
Is that right?
Because if I work a phone, I've got to actually lick the finger and then work it,
To create that static.
Yep.
Yeah, wow. Now, you had a close relationship with your dad. And
very close.
He must have been an amazing man.
He was. Unfortunately, we lost Mum about 40 odd years ago, but she was a fantastic woman.
How old were you when your mum passed?
I tried to work it out the other day. I think I was 30 odd.
It was a shock.
Oh yeah, hell of a shock. Hell of a shock. And particularly for the old man. But
And now can I ask, that was suicide?
yeah, yeah,
No idea.
yeah. Well, we worked it out afterwards. She'd had a breakdown, nervous breakdown, and the doctors were going to put her in one of the hospitals in Adelaide, Parkside, I think it was. And years ago, Parkside was for the nutters. When they said we're going to put you in Parkside, because it's all changed since then, and it's now like a rehab place for people that had nervous breakdowns and they'd fix them up. Mum was still of the idea that it was a nutter's place, and she said, "I've had enough," and that was it.
So sad.
Yep.
And that just reminds us all to, like what you did last night with that girl that walked in for a cigarette lighter, it's just to say, are you okay?
Yep.
Checking on people, isn't it?
Yep.
It's a reminder.
Straight away, yep.
Now your dad, he was a hard-working fella and across
Bloody
everything.
hard, yep.
And we lost him 4 years ago, and he's resting in peace
On top of Mount Connor with Mum, his mother, and my eldest son. So there's 4 of them up there.
You've got an older son up there.
Yep.
What age was he when he passed?
He was about 28, 30, and through bloody drugs.
Oh, I'm sorry, mate.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
I never knew he took drugs, but this particular night, I think he's after a particular woman here, and obviously took a drug that he'd never had before, or too much of it, whatever it was, and we found him next morning, and that was it.
Mate. So sad.
So that's why I am so hard on anyone with drugs.
Mm.
Yeah, sorry, I just get a bit fucking tearful there. Yeah, but drugs, I can't understand.
No. Mate, I'm with you there. And it's nice to know that your mum and dad and your family are up there on a special place on your property, looking down on you and smiling at what you were doing, you and Lindy.
Well, I hope they're smiling.
Well, they might be laughing at sometimes too, or crying, but
I'll find out when I get up there.
Well, Ash, we're up to the fun part, mate. These are the off-the-wall questions. These are just very short answers. They can be a little bit quirky. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
What do people misunderstand about you most?
My sense of humour. Because apparently, I think I've got a reasonable sense of humour, but some people reckon it's a bit strange at times.
You go right behind the bar there last night. We're having a good laugh. Now, what time of the day do you get your best work done?
Virtually from 5 o'clock in the morning until breakfast time at about 7.
Yeah.
Because there's no one else around.
Yeah. And
although we had one this morning who pinched some grog out of the bloody cool room.
Oh, I know. Must have been watching.
Obviously cased the place and knew my movements, because it happened between 5:20 when I opened the place up and 6 o'clock when I came back to open the store, the double doors up to start unloading my truck delivery.
God, that's rotten. When you try and make $1 out of an ice cream or a can of Coke or something, and you get all that stolen.
Mm-hmm.
Ash, if you could give your 18-year-old self some advice, what would it be?
Don't ever smoke. I'm a member of the Zipper Club.
Are you?
Yeah, I had a triple bypass and a valve.
Wow.
The valve had been with me all my life, but had a triple bypass. And I'd given up smoking for 4 years at that stage, 14, 15 year ago.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to another, well, I'm not looking forward to, but I'm looking at sometime in a few years getting another bloody bypass, because they don't last forever. Or valve, okay. I think it is. It's a valve they've got to renew because it's a pig's valve.
Yeah.
The one thing, don't smoke.
Yeah. Is there a favourite spot on your property here that you go to when you need a little bit of time out?
Yep. Just down on the eastern front of Mount Connor is where the place, the mountain actually curves, and where I've built my little bloody fireplace and everything down there that no one knew about. I go down there, you watch it at sunset, and it's just virtually black because the sun's behind. You wake up in the morning with you lay facing the mount, and as the sun creeps up, it makes you realise just how bloody small you are.
Yeah.
And you think, well, what have I got to worry about? Get back to work.
Good on you. Now, if your cattle could talk, what do you reckon they'd say about you?
That useless bastard.
No. What's the strangest or funniest thing that's ever happened out here on station?
We get to get it every day. Just dealing with people and some of their comments. Like you say to someone, they come in, we don't want a pad site, we just want free camping. And they say, okay, no worries, there's free camping down there. All we ask is $5 for a share. Okay, so how much is the camping? Even though you've just told them it's free.
Yeah. If Curtin Springs Station had a soundtrack, what would it be?
Can you remember the old film Hatari with John Wayne when he was in Africa catching animals and the rhinoceros bloody got him? Yeah, you get the soundtrack of Hatari.
That'll do.
Which went on with after that. There was the baby elephant walk and things. Well, I'm old, I know that, but you go back to that because it builds to a crescendo, then it drops. And then it builds to a crescendo, and that's exactly what this place is.
Well said. Now, if you had to swap jobs with someone in the city for a week, what would you pick, and how long do you reckon you'd last if you could get through the week?
I'm just going to say, would I get through the bloody week? Don't know. In some respects, I like to go back to the old grade that I had when I was at school. But old man, Mum was that bloody poor, they couldn't afford to give me pocket money. So right from when I was 8 or 7, I think it was, I went out and worked in a bakery. And by the time I was 13, I was actually running the bakery. And in some respects, I'd like to go back to that if it was the old days. But now they don't really make their own doughs. They don't do anything. But I'd like to go back and just see what it's like.
Yeah, good. If you could have a coffee or a cold beer with anyone, who would you choose?
The old man.
Yeah. And Ash, one last question. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Here.
Thank you. Well, Ash, I've loved talking to you, mate. And getting to know you over the last 24 hours has been fascinating. And you're running a pretty good ship here, mate, and doing a good thing.
Thank you.
And for the country, for the animals, and for our people, and that bit of connection too for people that don't get to see farms and stations, how they operate. It's enormous what you're doing, mate, and we're in better shape because of you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Put it here, Ash.
There you go, mate.
Thanks, mate. That was bloody really good.
Let's go and have a beer.
Yeah, well. And that's the second half of my conversation with Ash Severin, a hard man who's been through more than most of us could imagine. And still, he shows up every day to run a remote station in the Territory. From bushfires to bulls, loss to loyalty, camels to courage. Ash doesn't sugarcoat a thing, and I've got a lot of respect for that. Thanks for listening, and if you like this one, give it a share, leave a review, or just tell someone who needs a good yarn from the heart of the outback. In the meantime, keep your hands dirty and your spirits high.